Medi-Tate and Mingle is not just a convenient play on my name. It's my personal oxymoron, my yin-yang, and my Libra scales. It's the balancing act that exists within me. Medi-Tate describes the side of me that is intuitive, spiritually grounded, and individualized, while the Mingle is my social butterfly. I'm people-oriented and I have a talkative side. Bringing them together allows me to reach out to you. So join the mental mingle and meditate on a few thoughts with yours truly, Dr. Melissa Tate. Thank you for tuning in to the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. This is Medi-Tate and Mingle Radio, and I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Tate, aka Ms. Medi-Tate and Mingle. Thank you so much for joining me this Sunday afternoon. Today's show is brought to you by Omega Technical Solutions Incorporated. It takes one virus, one hacker, or one glitch to bring down your company's network. That's why government agencies, institutions, and businesses trust Omega Technical Solutions. We design and protect networks, giving our clients peace of mind. That's Omega Technical Solutions Incorporated. You can find them at www.otsi-online.com. Again, that's www.otsi-online.com, or by phone at 703-850-9708. That's 703-850-9708. Happy Sunday out there to my minglers. Thank you for tuning in today. My theme for the month of January is bringing resolutions to reality. This is that time of year. New Year's resolutions are pretty standard. The year has turned from 2014 to 2015, and there's this age-old discussion of what we're going to be doing differently. The new year, new attitude is the mantra. But let's be honest, we are creatures of habit. We have everyday habits, we have work habits, we have relationship habits, and some of us have life-threatening habits, whether it's smoking, overeating, lack of exercise, poor communication styles, drinking coffee, or texting while driving. You name it. We tend to program ourselves into behaviors that keep us in a rut and keep us from moving forward. Resolution is defined as a firm decision to do or not to do something. It's synonymous with terms like intention, commitment, plan, and promise. All of those words have a marked emphasis on action. So my question for you is, are you programmed into a rut? Or is it time for a real resolution, a firm decision, a commitment, a plan? What are you going to do differently or not do? By the time this show airs, it'll be about 10 or 11 days into the new year. So as of today, you have 355 opportunities to make it happen. And with each passing day, I'm challenging you to look at your habits and do something a little differently. Today, I'll have a guest in the studio with me. His name is Steve Robinson. He is Program Director with Sound Decisions, Resources, and Development. He is an entrepreneur. He's a motivational speaker. He's a soon-to-be author, and I consider him a friend. So today, joining me, Steve Robinson, he will be here talking about how to bring resolutions to reality. This program, Sound Decisions, is geared towards young adults with the overall motto being developing tomorrow's leaders. In that respect, you definitely have to have a plan and a commitment to doing things a little bit differently. So after the break, we'll be talking to Steve Robinson. I hope you will stick with us, and we will be back with you soon.
A Attention Charlotte and surrounding areas. Do you have an interest in radio or TV? Are you looking to build a career in media? If so, we are looking to fill open positions we currently have available. Qualifications include general knowledge of radio and TV, great attitude, a willingness to learn. You must have a high school diploma. There's little to no experience is necessary. This is a part-time position with full-time plus pay. To apply, you must call 877-342-7770. Again, that's 877-342-7770. We are looking to fill these positions as soon as possible. Are you ready for lights, camera, action? Let's find out. 877-342-7770.
You're listening to Medi-Tate and Mingle. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Tate, a.k.a. Ms. Medi-Tate and Mingle. You're tuned into WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. We are back after the break. I introduced my topic to you, resolutions to reality. People that are really able to take some initiative, thought, dream, plan, and put it into action. My guest today in the studio is Steve Robinson. He is Program Director of Sound Decisions, Resources, and Development. And welcome to the studio, Steve.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I do want to get that correct. I am the Program Director. The owners and founders is Oscar and Kaya Frazier, which Oscar's a great friend of mine and a mentor as well. They have started the program of Sound Decisions, is basically committed to eliminating growing obstacles in today's youth and young adults through social entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and higher education, which goes right in line with what you were talking about as far as the topic.
Very good. So tell me how you identify, the people that you're working with.
As far as the young adults that we work with, young adults that we're working with, you want young adults that wants to maybe get into business, that wants to find out about business, as well as teaching them about financial literacy. A lot in our community is dealing with, in those things that they don't know about as far as dealing with finances.
Right.
You want to spend your wants versus your needs. Where do you save? When do you not save? How do you start your business plan? So that goes along the line of what we're working with.
That's awesome, because that's exactly where we are in our topic from. How do you take an idea and turn it into a reality? So tell me how this program even got off the ground.
They had started back in 2007. I just came up on board.
Okay.
As far as how, when you were talking about bringing things to reality, working on the book myself, I had already started with that. And you just have to set in your mind that you want to do it. The new reality, the new thing of it's a new year, it's a new me. No, unless you have new DNA, it's still you.
Yes.
You're just basically trying to replace a better habit, replace the old habit with a better habit. If you come in with the same old habit, you're going to resort back to what you're doing. I noticed you were saying, we'll be about 10 days in.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, by the time you get to the end of January, it's already over. Most of the fasts that most churches have is the first, 3 to 4 weeks of the month, the new year. And a lot of people get caught up with that. And as soon as adversity hit, they resort back to those old habits because they haven't completely replaced the old habit with a new, better habit.
Right. Do you have any thoughts about how people can my thought is you take one habit at a time. You don't try to conquer a mountain by just jumping to the top of the mountain. You have to take small steps and steadily work your way towards small short-term goals. Again, people think lofty, in 2015 I'm going to do this, and then they don't come up with the short-term goals in the middle.
I believe that. It's kind of like you have to let something go to grab something else. It's kind of like when you're young and you're playing on the bars and you're swinging from the bars, you have to let the last one go to grab the next one.
Yes.
So it's kind of like that with your goals and your ambitions or whatever you're working on. You have to take that time, let one go to grab the next one, but you have to be willing to sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice or let anything go, you're going to resort back to that comfort zone of what you do know.
Yes. I always say there's something comfortable about the uncomfortable things and uncomfortable situations that we keep ourselves in. It certainly keeps you in a comfort zone, so to speak. And it's hard to, come out of those old habits and even search for something new or find something new. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you have to have a definiteness of purpose. You have to really sit down and spend some time by yourself, whether it be getting away from social media, getting away from people totally, and write down what is it that you actually want to do and have that definiteness of purpose and begin to work from there. Because if you don't have a definiteness of purpose, you'll find yourself reaching at this, you're reaching at that. And a lot of times some people call it a midlife crisis. I don't look at it as just a reality check. It becomes a reality check of what do you really want. And if you don't have that definiteness of purpose to define where you're going to go, you'll find yourself, upset again because it's like, well, I moved into this new year. I had all of these. You're riding
Great
on
ideas.
emotions. You got to control these emotions. You have to control the emotions. You're coming into this new year, all these emotions. I'm going to change. I'm letting this go. I'm letting that go. It was just, a couple days ago that it was still 2014. So, technically you have to change. Yes, time is the one thing that we can't control. See, time's going to go regardless. So if you haven't got yourself and how you control your time to change that, then, it doesn't work that way.
What do you think some of the obstacles are that are keeping, especially this young generation, because there's so much immediate gratification, with social media, technology, and various things that people have at their disposal, at their fingertips. And, there's, our older generation says, old blood, sweat, and tears. And so I feel like we're kind of in transition between these two different ideals from the generations. What do you think is the biggest obstacle or hurdle for our younger folks?
Right now, with social media being the instant gratification, the instant gratification is something that has taken over, I think, a lot of young minds because it's what you see. You're watching this and you spend so much time, scrolling up and down Instagram or on Facebook or listening to this or watching TVs and these reality shows or whatever it may be, and you think that that's how I'm supposed to be or that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you look at your own reality, you have a lot of situations or you have a lot of issues going on that you need to address first. And it's hard to step out of what you're doing because it's really you into what someone else is doing. And I think that's what's going on a lot of times with our younger generation and their foundation. You have to have a solid foundation and work towards a solid foundation.
Yeah, I agree. I think social media is a gift and a curse. I think it exposes us to so much. You have so much access to everything, but at the same time, like you said, you kind of look at it and you know that that's where you want to be, or you think that's where you're supposed to be, but the steps to get there are not quite ironed out. No. What are the biggest strategies that you'll be working on with Sound Decisions with the clientele you'll work with?
With the clientele we'll be working with is basically putting that format together, changing the mindset. Before you can, I'm a person that really wants to work on mindset. I have to know your mindset. If you put a object on the table, whatever it may be, you have to look at whoever you're talking to or whoever you're showing that to may see two different things. So you need to know what they see in order for that to be a mindset. It's just like if you say, well, here's $100 to a young person, and one may look at it as, oh, I'm going to spend this, I'm going to go spend this. And the other ones may look at it, well, I need to take care of this, or I need to take care of some personal things. You have to know the mindset. If your mindset is not identified in the beginning, I would just be talking. You would just be teaching because you don't know their mindset, so you don't know what direction they want to go. What you may look at as this is an opportunity, they may look at as this is a failure. So you have to find a mindset first, and before you can move in any direction with whoever you're working with, whether it be young or old, you have to have even the mindset of teaching someone. What is my mindset going into this? Do I have an open mindset of the young person that I will be dealing with? Because if you don't, if you're thinking, you have this motivation, you got to go now. I do have a go now type attitude. You got to move it and go now. But you also have to understand when you're working with everyone else, they may not have that same attitude.
Right.
So you have to adjust to that.
Yeah. How do you adjust when you have these two different mindsets that you're trying to get to the same goal, but you're approaching things from a different kind of perspective?
Communication.
I love it.
Communication.
I love it.
If I don't talk to you, if I don't let you talk and I listen, then I don't understand. I won't know where you're at. If I just assume that you come in and because you know that this is something that we'll be doing, this is a program we'll be working with, and I assume that you know that you come in and you're going to do this, then I've already counted you out or may have put up a barrier that I may not know that I have. Gotcha. So I have to communicate first. I need to understand about you. How do you view business, or how do you view life? How do you view yourself? Because the thing about life is your internal outlook of what you see is going to determine what you get or what you don't get. How you view the world is how it's going to come to you. So I have to know a little bit about you, a little bit about how you think, a little bit about which direction that you want to go in. And I think that begins the initial contract, so to speak, of us working together. And that's in any shape, regardless of whatever you're doing.
Right. So is it an actual screening process, or is it more of just an interpersonal kind of dialogue?
It would be, it would work. With me, it would be kind of like a screening process, dialogue. You want to do both because you don't know what how this person may react. You can put out a form for everyone to fill out to begin with, and to see what happens and to see how they take to it. Or then you may start with a couple dialogues. You may start with icebreakers and basically getting people talk. Some may not want to talk. Some may want to talk.
Yeah.
So it's different. But if you don't take that time, which has to be included, if you don't take that time, then you're just basically operating.
Gotcha. Tell me, how if a young person wanted to reach out to you and know some more about Sound Decisions and Resources and Development, what would they need to do?
Definitely, you can reach out to the Sound Decisions at info at.
What you need?
For 1 second.
Okay. So, while Steve was looking that up, I definitely wanted to make sure that I discussed with you all about Mega Technical Solutions Incorporated. It's one of my sponsors. It only takes one virus, one hacker, or one glitch to bring down your company's network. That's why government agencies, institutions, and businesses trust Omega Technical Solutions. We design and protect networks, giving our clients peace of mind. Mega Technical Solutions is focused out of Virginia. In order to reach them, you call 703-850-9708. You can also find them online at www.otsi-online.com. That's www.otsi-online.com. While Steve is looking up his information, we're going to take a little break. You're listening to Medi-Tate and Mingle. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Tate. We'll be back right after the break.
Castle's Daycare Academy is where dreams take shape and become a child's reality.
Welcome back to WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. And welcome to those streaming live through the free TuneIn radio app. You're listening to Medi-Tate and Mingle. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Tate, a.k.a. Ms. Medi-Tate and Mingle. If you're just tuning in, we've been talking about resolutions to reality. I have in the studio with me a good friend, Steve Robinson. He is Program Director of Sound Decisions, Resources, and Development. It's a program geared towards young adults, working through financial development, financial literacy, job personnel, with the motto of this company being developing tomorrow's leaders. Again, thanks, Steve, for joining me in the studio.
Thank you. I'm glad you have. I'm glad to be here.
So we're talking about taking resolutions and turning them into reality. One of the first tips I put out was to be decided. Decide what you're going to change. Pick one thing that you could do differently, and recognize when you are in a rut in some sort of way. What's one of the tips that you would give to some of our listeners about turning your resolution into reality?
One of the tips that I would say is, like I said, basically know who you are. Identify yourself. Identify yourself based off of what you want mentally in that subconscious and conscious mind, and not what you may perceive someone else wants. So the biggest thing is identify who you are first. Because if you don't know you, it's going to be a long road.
Yes, definitely. And I think, again, with your program being geared towards young people, I think they have such active minds, and they see a lot of this stuff on TV and stuff like that. And so they have these ideas of where they want to go and not really a plan to execute.
Right. That happens a lot, when and that happens with adults as well. It happens with us as well. We make just as many New Year's resolutions and startups as anyone else.
Yeah.
But it still goes back to, like I said, knowing who you are, having a definite purpose, putting a plan together, working your plan. How are you going to work your plan? Getting to know your people. A guy that I used to work with, Brennan Graham, who's executive director over at OnRamp, he used to always tell me, when you're building a team and you're building a program, find people who maybe can do things better than you can or you can't do. Find those people that do it and allow them to do it. So when you're building this team, you're building a program, put those things together. Put people in place that's there to help you. So a lot of that, like I said, when you have to let go of something to grab something else, maybe letting go of a certain group of people, letting go of a certain group of, things that you do in order to move forward.
Yes. I like that. I like that a lot. What are some of the things that get you motivated? You have a lot of projects. We're not mentioning all of them today because they're still up and running.
Right.
We'll keep those in prayer for you.
Thank
you. What are some of the things that get you motivated, that take you from, you know what, I'm gonna run with this one?
My why, everybody say, well, get your why. When you identify your why or what you want to do it, but, you look back into, my son, he's 11, so, you say your kids, but you want a long-term, happiness. I do that, what's going to make me happy and what I can be a service to someone else. I used to look at, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. Now, a lot of times I look at it as, well, this is a service I can provide to help someone else do what they do.
Gotcha.
And that's why I got into motivational speaking and encouraging others, is because I want to help someone else get to what they want, because they might not have that foundation. They might not have that support. They might not have someone telling them, hey, you can do this regardless of what it seems like.
Right.
You can make it through this.
Right. Talk to me more about the motivational speaking. What type of populations have you been talking to, and where does that take you?
Before what I started out with I've always worked with youth. I've always worked with youth, whether it been, I was in foster care. I used to be a foster parent. I've always worked with youth throughout life.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was a foster parent for a year.
Wow.
I had a 15-year-old young man that lived with us, and now he's moved on. Actually, he's his freshman year in college, so he's doing good.
Awesome.
So I'm really proud of him. But
Yes.
Working with youth all the time has just been something, because to me that's that stage of turning and the most absorbing. That's when they're beginning to feel that they're their own person, but at the same time still being molded and identified by other people. So if I can catch them at that time and be able to say something then that maybe help change you or maybe help increase you, then that is what, that's what I'm geared towards a lot of times. But I've spoke more I've been on a board meeting, had to speak there before, and introduce some things. So I like doing trainings. I love doing trainings. I went out to Denver to become certified in Love and Logic, training with parents and kids. So
Love it.
I love to do trainings. I love to encourage people to do and go after what they want.
Yeah. Here's a question. Okay. So there's a lot of social, political issues going on in the world, especially with young black men in particular. And, I spoke a few weeks ago. I had a friend of mine, Charles Emmanuel, come on the show, a legal litigation attorney out of Florida. And we talked a lot about the Eric Garner situation, the Tamir Rice situation, just these young black men that are just dying way too soon at the hands of law enforcement. What are your thoughts just on young black youth in general, and maybe some things that you see as a mentor, as a motivational speaker, that you try to instill in them?
The action. What action are you going to take? A lot of people, and it's such a touchy subject, to be able to talk about the racism and how things go and what happens. But, it's like I was talking with Oscar one day, and he said, until we can control the dollar, then nothing else is going to happen. Until you're controlling where the money goes, then a lot of things are not going to move in any direction. And I say that with the young people, with our young black men of today, myself included.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like it begins to become, what are you seeing? What is your involvement? What are you looking for? Because if I just go out and stop this, or if I just go out and walk with this, what are you actually trying to change? What is your plan? Do you have a plan? What is the plan? How are you best arming yourself? Whether it be, educational, whether it be financially, how are you best arming yourself to do a lot? Some things you can't control what other people may think or say or do. But what you can control is how you respond and what you do for yourself, how you pick up yourself, how you pick up your neighbors. Instead of, hey, we're going to go do this, hey, let's work on this, hey, let's build this plan, hey, let's put this plan together, let's build this business that we were talking about. Because now you become more powerful with that. Now you become more powerful with an action that you're doing.
Right. In talking with your parents and with the young people, what are some of the hurdles you think the parents are facing? Sometimes what I find in counseling, coming into private practice, is parents bring their child to me and they say, this child is bad, or this child is depressed, or this child is anxious, or this child has this issue. And sometimes it's a little bit of a rude awakening for them to have to look in the mirror and kind of take a look at themselves and what type of environment they're fostering for the child. So what's your experience in working with parents and how you can instill change in the family system?
Well, the first thing is what that parent said out of their mouth, then that's what you have.
Mm-hmm.
You're bad. You don't
Yes.
listen.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to do well. You don't do great.
Right.
You're going to fail if you keep doing this in school. Well,
Yeah.
you've put that on that child.
Yeah.
So then, therefore, it's nothing new. The parent has to start with what you say. My mother used to always say to us, watch what you say. Watch how you say it. If you say that this is going to be, then that's what's going to happen. You've already put that curse out there. A lot of people say, well, you're just like your daddy.
Yeah.
Well, then there you have it.
Right,
So
right.
don't be surprised
Right.
when that happens.
Right.
What parents, I think, should do is basically that communication. It goes back to that communication. And then what is your goal and desire, for your child, and how are you helping them get there? Just talking about or taking them to someone else to say, okay, this is for you to fix. And it's like, well, what is your part? And then quit identifying. That's stop, to me, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Stop identifying your child from what someone else says. A lot of times I go to schools and volunteer at my son's school and talk to people, and it's like, well, he won't listen or he's bad. And I've talked to a couple coaches I work with, his football team as well. And it's like, and I say to him, well, what type of learner is your child? Have you identified what type of learner he is? So, they say, well, he won't sit still, he won't do this, or he won't do that in school, or he's doing it. What type of learner is he?
Right.
What type of teacher do you have? You have to go, like I go and watch a lot of my son's teachers. I'll go to the school and, the principals and things welcome you. And, you basically, I just stand outside the classroom and watch. I watch the teacher. I watch to see how they operate. A lot of times they could be frustrated at what's going on. And then also, like I said, the key thing is knowing your child and what type of learner you have. How is your child receptive to does your child like a speaker? Does your child like to be hands-on? Does your child like, you need to know a lot of things about yourself and your child before you begin to identify these things.
I love it. What is what is your New Year's resolution for 2015, or do you have?
Not necessarily a New Year's resolution. I'm just thankful that God has brought me into a new year and allowed me to take what I have been working on or what I have given to go into the right direction. The only thing I just be placed with the right people to encourage you, and you have to stay surrounded with the people that's in the direction that you want to go. It just won't work without it. So not necessarily a resolution. It's just the simple fact of, hey, I wish the best for everyone.
Right. Introduce your Instagram account as we wrap up the segment.
Oh, it's s.robinson_theSpeaker. That's s.robinson_theSpeaker. Or you can email me at smrincllc@gmail.com.
Very good. And that information for Sound Decisions Resources and Development is ofrazier, FRAZIER, @me.com. ofrazier @me.com. That's Frazier with a Z. Thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it. I'm glad you had me.
I appreciate you being here. Once again, thank you to my listeners for tuning in to the only station giving you double the inspiration and the information. This is Medi-Tate and Mingle on WDRB Media and WGIV, the soul of Charlotte. Happy Sunday. WGIV family, I want to thank you for joining yours truly, Ms. Medi-Tate and Mingle today. I hope that you found something worthy in our conversation to meditate upon or mingle about. Please come back and join me each and every Sunday afternoon at 12 p.m. And in the meantime, if you find something pressing you down, wearing you out, or keeping you shut in, just hold your head high and make sure you don't give up. I'm Ms. Medi-Tate and Mingle.